Okay, so I really like to keep with the theme of not telling the people I talk to what we're going to be talking about exactly, but for today's topic, the context of why we talk about it is kind of important. So I'm going to try to keep it short, but a few days ago, Echo and I were playing Overwatch, and at one point we were like, wait, isn't D.Va a really strong hero? And we start to think about all the heroes she counters, all the problems she can cause, and that maybe D.Va might be the underlying issue behind a lot of the meta problems that the player base has without realizing, because in their faces, obviously, Baguette and Doomfist. And we looked it up online, and there were other people who agreed with us, people that made videos, but only small channels. And I thought that instead of sitting down and just talking about it in a very casual manner as we have in the last few videos, I'll try to put a different spin on this. So for today's video, Nate and Echo are going to try to convince me and you, the viewers, why D.Va is the real problem in Overwatch over Baguette. And I'll try to play devil's advocate, or even maybe devil's oblivious idiot to some extent, as to why that is not the case. Okay, so that was the original plan for the video, but you know what, I'm not even gonna try to describe it. Here's a clip that illustrates just about how well that went.
Wait.
Are you dead?
Dude, that's a good game right there.
Since GOATS is kind of like the primary comp that is being run nowadays throughout all of ladder and even in pro play occasionally. Not occasionally, most of the time. What the hell?
Vast majority of times.
A vast majority, yes, that's the right words. It's become evident in a lot of I've been watching the Jane Pugs and participating in them all for a while. He's been doing pro pugs, semi pro pugs. And a lot of the time, he implemented this thing called a ban, right? A ban hero system, right? Where each team bans one hero. And what usually happens is both teams, the common denominator without all the teams, there was over 100, there's over 100 players that were participating in this event. And throughout all of the teams, everybody's been banning Brigitte and D.Va. So I think coincidence? I think not.
How does D.Va enable GOATS in a way that many people don't realize it?
She kind of neuters a lot of the counters in the game towards the GOATS. GOATS is a tank-heavy composition with a lot of healing.
Mm-hmm.
And people assume that you can just counter GOATS by going a heavy damage comp with maybe an Ana to anti the enemy team, so they cannot have any heals. But since D.Va exists and is a direct counter and is also a tank to those heroes with her defense matrix and her mobility, Ana cannot throw her nades and use it on the enemy team.
That's
Junkrat, that's really big.
That's really big.
Anti-nade is and probably still is one of the most powerful abilities in the game. Probably the most powerful. Nate can concur. You can keep going about how Ana gets destroyed here, Nate.
Okay. Well, first of all, the nade is the best part about her utility kit, because otherwise she's just a Mercy that needs to aim. That nade, being able to both double, or was it 50%? It's 50%, right, on your own team? 50% that amp, which is an insane amount of healing, and be able to completely negate anybody. You can just jump on anybody once you land that nade. You know, every single time you're in ladder and you hear that, and it's like, oh, Ana hit an anti, you see that purple border, you just go straight in, because you know there's nothing they can do. Maybe a Zarya bubble, but you could eat through that. It's nothing. And being able to completely negate that ability through Matrix, every single time she throws it, basically, if you're good enough at it, she's useless at that point.
So I'm going to have to throw you a bone here before we get into the counter-argument part of this discussion, where really what makes Brigitte so annoying in many cases is not her existing, unless you play Tracer. She zones you in a big way and get you to a certain extent. Mr. Tracer abuser. But the biggest thing with Brigitte is that she's pretty useless until she gets close to the team. And GOATS is all about speeding up that process. You have your tanks, you have your healers, you have this death ball, and you speed boost them towards the enemy. And she doesn't become dangerous until that distance is closed. And once you are there, even if you're there, you can't do anything against a high damage composition. But all these high damage heroes that would, in theory, do a good job of countering Baguette and a tank-heavy composition as they have in the past would be Junkrat, Pharah, heroes like that get countered by defense matrix. So that's really she does a big part in enabling her team staying in the fight once they have closed the distance. And at this point, they're at such a huge advantage that really you have to single out parts of goats to counter it, which is why people run Doomfist to one-shot Baguette or one-shot Diana, or Sombra to hack the D.Va so you can actually damage them.
Yeah.
So what has happened when people ban D.Va? What have they run instead?
What have people run when they ban D.Va?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, since they've been just playing goats, right? They're like, dude, I don't want to stop playing tanks, and they just like comfort pick and go quad tank, right? But that comp gets countered by anti-nade. So the enemy team runs Ana, and then they have to swap. I mean, this game has, even though D.Va is a big problem, why goats is powerful, I'm not going to say she's the only problem. It's another big problem why goats is run and why Brig is so broken is because of the healing in this game. Healing is very powerful, but thank God there's an ability that, negates healing. So when D.Va was in the thing about goats that makes it so infuriating to play against is you need multiple ults to clean out an entire team fight because there's so much HP barriers. Sometimes you'd be needing Shatter, Grav, D.Va Bomb, Rally, and a beat drop just to finish one fight. And fights on some points be lasting for like minutes on end. But like a one well-placed timed anti can take that entire like ults, all the ults out of the equation and just turn it into a fight of we have more health and heals. You have no healing, and the enemy team would win off of just them not having heals. But when D.Va is not in the equation, that is the case. So teams were running a lot more Ana, and the tank heavy comps were getting countered by Ana and high damage instead of ultimates.
So when you think about it, the last, year and a half, any meta that surfaced that was not strictly mercy dependent was tank heavy. We had triple tank way back in the day when I was still competing on ladder very actively. Then we had Slambulance, the quad tank composition, and now we have Goats, which is like the ultimate tank composition that discards any DPS once again. So I've been watching a few of these pugs that Jane does, not a whole lot of them, but what I've seen is that exactly what you said. People default to playing tanks now because they're so used to tanks being so powerful in this game, which is a funny contrast to people not enjoying playing tanks because they get crowd controlled all the time. So what do you think needs to be done? Should you just leave Brigitte alone at this point and not tweak her and go for D.Va instead, or what would you do?
What do you mean leave her alone? You mean like after the nerfs or before the nerfs?
Essentially,
on PTR we have those. So which one? Leave her alone where she is right now on live or after?
It's hard to draw that line because when they nerfed her shield bash damage, they also increased her healing, which arguably could make goats more powerful. Some people speculate. So what if you just take the nerf where she can't shield bash through shields anymore after that nerf?
Explain to me how triple tank died back in season 3 too. Do you guys remember?
Yeah, they nerfed Ana's healing output and increased mercies instead.
Oh man,
no,
D.Va, man.
Wait. That's part of the changes. A big change of why goats started to die out then, and people were still running dive like in the triple tank meta occasionally, but they also buffed, and I'm pretty sure around sometime D.Va was reworked to have her 4-second DM like during the triple thing. You guys remember that, right? A while back.
They nerfed her armor really hard too.
Yeah, they nerfed D.Va's armor, a nerf to D.Va, and they buffed Winston's shield. If you guys remember.
Yeah, and she still had her DM, which is why she was so prevalent in the dive meta that followed.
So Winston was buffed, D.Va was nerfed and kind of buffed, and the healing heroes were changed. Mostly this game is dictated by supports, and maybe tanks DPS are not really a big thing, unless they have very, very good utility like Sombra, and Ash could be shaking up the meta soon.
I think so, absolutely.
She has a very good peel mechanism, and she can kind of get away from D.Va very easily.
She is she's what I want to see new heroes, like her entire kit philosophy, because she's the first DPS that actually has really good utility that can be used in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, options is a big keyword here.
What does McCree have? A role.
Okay, stop. We're not gonna joke, dude. Okay.
Have fun somersaulting in the face of a diva. I'm not gonna work
Yeah,
for you.
Pressing Q in front of a diva, dude. I guess I'll die.
Yeah.
But
Think about it. Any of you guys that play like McCree or Soldier and you're like, oh, heck yeah, I got that high ground. I can finally start doing damage. Diva flies up to you, DMs your ultimate, DMs your rocket, DMs your damage, DMs your flash, everything. And while she does it, she shoots rockets at your face. And you cannot do anything about it. It's stuff like that that makes her really powerful, but it's easy to overlook that, I guess, in the face of
a nerf that I would like to see if we want to pull back Diva is she can't shoot while flying. Like, who thought that was a good idea? Like,
yeah.
Like, I mean, some heroes should be able to shoot while flying, right? Like,
Farah.
I mean,
she's also
Farah.
yeah, obviously.
Imagine.
Farah, Winston, because they can't control. I mean, they can control their movement, but not to the extent of Diva. Like, Diva's movement is insane. Like, have you seen what divas do when they're stalling the point? They fly up and do like 1,000,000 360s while flying,
crazy.
and just to stall the point. And people say Sombra. You might say Sombra counters Diva because she just hacks them, and Diva's just useless, right? But Diva can just turn around and her entire crit box is gone. And she can just wait it out and just fly away by the time.
She can also poke in the air.
Best spot,
permanently.
Best spy hunter, man.
And
Sombra
permanently gets poked out by a diva if there's a diva in the game. She's aware and is somewhat competent. Just hold down M1. You don't have ammo. Really good pellet damage. And
how even with the rocket boosters, you sometimes accidentally catch a
yeah, exactly, because that does damage too. You can't demech a diva within one hack cycle unless your entire team just
your entire team is shooting her, and that most of the time competitive. Like, if a hero gets hacked, they should just die because your teammates should know how to what's the word? Focus fire. A lot of people in competitive don't focus fire and don't work together as a team. And diva kind of, if you're a good diva, you can solo carry.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's been 15 minutes, so we should probably find some closing words. Maybe you want to summarize what makes Diva so powerful, Nate, and we'll try to conclude that from
one of the things. I think it's going to play well off of the footage you probably have for the video of us going and doing a 3-stack with you playing Diva. She's kind of the same as Doomfist, but different, which that didn't come out right. But Doomfist is super, super, super strong and against uncoordinated teams, but he's really, really weak up against, like no one plays him in Owl or anything because he's just not good against. Diva's kind of the same way, except she's really good at uncoordinated teams, and then she also has a place in the meta at the top level. So like even in quick play, if you just have an Ana pocketing you, I get nano in like 10 seconds, 15 seconds maybe. She's really, really strong in both areas of the game. Quick play, competitive. She's just strong across the board.
But she's not just a pup stomper like Doomfist.
No, dude.
But she's also really strong in the meta and pro play.
Exactly. She has a really good place in the meta where you probably have a different play style, but she's also super strong in quick play.
And people think like goats should be countered since they're tanks by Reaper, right? But the thing about Reaper is he has pellet damage, and most of the time Brigitte's in the game, so armor ruins his damage. And Diva just destroys. Just destroys Reaper. The Reaper cannot do anything to a Diva unless the Diva's out of DM and is like in his face. The Diva just eats his damage, his Blossom, and if he teleports like to anywhere near a Diva, she can just delete him, and his damage is just gone. Bastion gets countered by Bastion comps gets countered by Diva, which in theory should counter tank comps, because Bastion has a lot of damage and he can just tear through the barriers, but Diva can DM his damage, and she can contest high ground from hit scan, just destroy them. She eats anti-nades. She can do all these things, and she's the problem with Diva is she's just an all-arounder. She's just too perfect at everything she does. She's not a jack of all trades. She's she's just perfect in all trades.
Master of all.
Master of all, essentially. Now, I think that, this video turned out a bit different than I anticipated, which I guess wasn't...
Don't tell us what we're talking about.
Yeah, it wasn't entirely fair to put you on the spot like that. I feel like if I was on the other side, I would have done a better job, but that's also not a fair comparison because I literally do this for a living. I does this for a living, man. I write for a living. I can't even speak English properly. Okay, so I hope that with this video we could convince some people of our points, and if we could not convince you, just leave a comment down below why you think that D.Va is fine, if you think so, or if you're still convinced and why Brigitte might be still worse than D.Va, because I'm interested to see what people have to say in the face of these arguments that we have made today. Before we make this like an hour, I guess we should call it here.
Yeah, probably.
Let's talk about where people can find you guys if they are interested. Nate, what do you still do these days?
What do I do? Go subscribe to my channel, and then I can maybe make content. Smile.
Sounds good. Echo, what
go
can they find you?
subscribe to my channel. I occasionally make videos too. And most of the time I'm streaming on twitch.tv at EchoFlex with 2 X's.
Ooh,
if you like my voice.
All right, awesome. I guess we can call it here. Thanks for being here, guys, and thanks to all of you watching. Hit the like button if you want to see more dumb shit like this.
Click that bell, dude.
And click that bell so you're notified
and don't
of all the
forget to
garbage
comment,
that we
share,
upload.
and subscribe.
And of course, subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope to see you guys next time.